Today is the fifth day of this April 2024 7-day session. And I'm going to read again today teachings of Ajahn Chah from the book Living Dharma, edited, compiled by Jack Cornfield. And I'm going to continue from where we left off yesterday with a question. This is question and answer here. You have said that samatha and vipassana, or concentration and insight, are the same. Could you explain this further? And Ajahn Chah says, it is quite simple. Concentration, samatha, and wisdom, vipassana, we could say samadhi and prajna, using Zen terms, Buddhist, other Mahayana Buddhist terms. Concentration and wisdom work together. First, the mind becomes still by holding on to a meditation object. It is quiet only while you are sitting with your eyes closed. Of course, this is how they sit, closing the eyes. And of course, we do it with the eyes open. Nobody's looking, though, looking at any objects or distracting themselves. That whole business about closing the eyes, there are arguments both ways. It is true that there are less distractions if your eyes are closed, but you're also more drowsy. And it's also kind of we could say training wheels. You have to live your life with your eyes open. So if you learn to focus the mind with them opened, then you can take it more readily into your life. Between the Soto and the Rinzai forms of sitting, there's the difference that in Soto, generally, we face the wall, which is less distracting, and in Rinzai, they face out, they face each other, as we do at certain times in sesshin, some of our sittings. And again, it's easier facing the wall, at least at first, but if you learn to have the eyes open without picking and choosing, without looking around, without becoming distracted, then that benefits you later on. So there are good reasons for both. It's all just different ways. So again, it is quiet only while you are sitting with your eyes closed. This is samatha, and eventually this concentration is the cause for wisdom or vipassana to arise. Then the mind is still whether you sit with your eyes closed or walk around in a busy city. It's like this. Once you were a child, now you are an adult. Are the child and the adult the same person? You can say that they are, or looking at it another way, you can say they're different. In this way, samatha and vipassana could also be looked at as separate. Or, and here he takes an interesting metaphor, or it is like food and feces. Food and feces could be called the same. Don't just believe what I say, do your practice and see for yourself. Nothing special is needed. If you examine how concentration and wisdom arise, you will know the truth for yourself. These days, many people cling to the words. They call their practice vipassana. Samatha is looked down on. Or they call their practice samatha. It's essential to do samatha before vipassana, they say. All this is silly. Don't bother thinking about it in this way. Simply do the practice and you'll see for yourself. In the end, it really comes down to personal experience. It comes down to seeing directly. The form doesn't matter so much. The question is, are we awake? Are we aware? Really, awareness is everything. There's that story of a man who went to a Zen master who's, I guess, doing calligraphy and asked for some words of wisdom. And the master wrote awareness. Some versions he wrote attention. That amounts to the same thing. And the man was very grateful for that, said, thank you. Could you write a little more? And the master wrote awareness, awareness. Okay, yeah, awareness. Okay, yeah. But what else could you write? And he wrote 3 times running, awareness. Finally, the guy asked, well, what does awareness mean anyway? And the teacher said, awareness means awareness. We'll read a little something from Ajahn Sumedho. Actually he was studied with Ajahn Chah. He said, mindfulness or awareness is knowing, isn't it? It is a direct knowing, immanent here and now. It is being fully present, attentive to this present moment as it is. But defining mindfulness tends to make it into something, and then it is no longer mindfulness, is it? Talk about awareness. It's a thing. What are we talking about? He says mindfulness is not a thing. It is a recognition, an intuitive awareness. Awareness without grasping. With this recognition, we have perspective on the conditions that we experience in the present, our thoughts, identities, and the conditioning we have. Concentration, on the other hand, here he's talking about samatha or samadhi, is usually on a form. We choose an object and then put our full attention onto it, in contrast to mindfulness, which is formless and immeasurable and does not seek a form. That is why describing mindfulness or awareness leads to the wrong attitude. Terms like wake up, awakening, or pay attention are not definitions. They're suggestions to trust in this moment, to be present, to be here and now. And that's the most important thing, to be here, aware in this moment. We struggle, it seems so hard to do, because we keep drifting off into various mind objects, thoughts and feelings, emotions, memories, fantasies, thoughts of time. It feels so hard to be aware, but it's who we are. Joko Beck said, awareness is our true self. It's what we are. So we don't have to try to develop awareness. We simply need to notice how we block awareness with our thoughts, our fantasies, our opinions, and our judgments. We're either in awareness, which is our natural state, or we're doing something else. The mark of mature students is that most of the time they don't do something else. They're just here, living their life. Nothing special. It's a real turning point when you realize there's no special extra twist you have to give in order to pay attention. Just need to open up. As you are, with all your problems and conditioning and foibles, shortcomings. Nevertheless, when a bird calls, you hear. It's amazing, and it's nothing special. It's what we've always been. As Ajahn Chah says, simply do the practice and you'll see for yourself. The next question, is it necessary to be able to enter absorption in our practice? And he says, no, absorption is not necessary. You must establish a modicum of tranquility and one-pointedness of mind. Then use this to examine yourself. Nothing special is needed. If absorption comes in your practice, this is okay too, just don't hold on to it. Some people get hung up with absorption. It can be great fun to play with. You must know proper limits. If you are wise, then you will know the uses and limits of absorption, just as you know the limitations of children versus grown men. It's easy to get obsessed with samadhi. Hear accounts of people in states of total absorption. And those are great. But people can come to understanding, can awaken to the truth in any moment, in any state. It's just a question of seeing clearly, suddenly seeing. It's the metaphor of coming across your long-lost father at a crossroads. When he says modicum of tranquility and one-pointedness, I think that's a lot of tranquility and one-pointedness. But the problem with this obsession with concentration is that now you're measuring it. You're thinking, how concentrated am I? How much farther do I have to go? If you're working on a koan, it's just questioning. Questioning is not worrying about conditioning. We just need to be natural. We need to be diligent. We need not to get lost in distraction. Don't dwell in the past. Don't dwell in the future. Don't even dwell in the present. When you're in the present, when you're here, you're not thinking about past, present, and future. Next question. Why do we follow the ascetic rules such as eating out of our bowls? I guess in their practice, all the food, as we said yesterday, I think, gets mixed together in one bowl. And Ajahn Chah says, the ascetic precepts are to help us cut defilement. By following the ones such as eating out of our bowls, we can be more mindful of our food as medicine. If we have no defilements, then it does not matter how we eat. But here we use the form to make our practice simple. The Buddha did not make the ascetic precepts necessary for all monks, but he allowed them for those who wished to practice strictly. They add to our outward discipline and thereby help increase our mental resolve and strength. These rules are to be kept for yourself. Don't watch how others practice. Watch your own mind and see what is beneficial for you. The rule that we must take whatever meditation cottage is assigned to us is similarly helpful discipline. It keeps the monks from being attached to their dwelling place. If they go away and return, they must take a new dwelling. This is our practice, not to cling to anything. Sesshin is a great place to see how attached we are to things. What room did we get? What job were we assigned? Where are we sitting? All unnecessary concerns. Hurrying to get somewhere before others, so we won't have to wait behind them. So a questioner comes back and says, if putting everything together in our bowls is important, why don't you as a teacher do it yourself? Don't you feel it is important for the teacher to set an example? And Ajahn Chah says, yes, it is true. A teacher should set an example for his disciples. I don't mind that you criticize me. Ask whatever you wish. But it is important that you do not cling to the teacher. If I were absolutely perfect in outward form, it would be terrible. You would all be too attached to me. Even the Buddha would sometimes tell his disciples to do one thing and then do another himself. Okay, I'll take his word for it. Your doubts in your teacher can help you. You should watch your own reactions. When you have a thought like that, whether it's about a teacher or a fellow practitioner, anyone, what are you paying attention to? When you focus on their shortcoming, you're missing your judgmental cast of mind. You've gone away. You're really no longer practicing. So difficult for people whose minds are attuned to other people's shortcomings, or to people who are attuned to their own, constantly seeing fault. I suppose it's just as bad if you're constantly feeling you're great. Again, he says you should watch your own reactions. Do you think it is possible that I keep some food out of my bowl in dishes to feed the laymen who work around the temple? It's possible. Wisdom is for yourself to watch and develop. Take from the teacher what is good. Be aware of your own practice. If I am resting while you all must sit up, does this make you angry? If I call the color blue red, or say that male is female, don't follow me blindly. Yeah, be aware of your own practice. We're each in charge. This is a project that each of us is doing, and we're in charge of it. Teacher is there to help you. Others are there. The monitors are there to help you. But you're the one. It's just you. Just your life. You decide. It's great to get advice, great to get encouragement. He says, One of my teachers ate very fast. He made noises as he ate. Yet, he told us to eat slowly and mindfully. I used to watch him and get very upset. I suffered, but he didn't. I watched the outside. Later I learned. Some people drive fast, but carefully. Others drive slowly and have many accidents. Don't cling to rules, to outer form. If you watch others at most 10% of the time and watch yourself 90%, this is proper practice. At first I used to watch my teacher Ajahn Tongwrath and had many doubts. People even thought he was mad. He would do strange things or get very fierce with his disciples. Outside he was angry, but inside there was nothing. Nobody there. He was remarkable. He stayed clear and mindful until the moment he died. Had this experience with both Roshi Kapleau and with Bodhin Roshi of being subjected to their anger, and then in the next moment, next time you see them, it's gone. Just passed right through. But what about us? Get furious and that simmers and goes on and on. Not necessary. He says, looking outside the self is comparing, discriminating. You will not find happiness that way, nor will you find peace if you spend your time looking for the perfect man or the perfect teacher. The Buddhas taught us to look at the Dharma, the truth, not to look at other people. There are a lot of different sort of styles of student-teacher relations in Buddhism and in Zen. In Japan, there is generally one teacher, sort of the daimyo, the lord, the feudal lord, and everything comes through him. I gather this was the way that Harada Roshi taught. He said, had his students not even read the books of other teachers. He wanted to be able to totally control how they were taught, not have other ideas coming in and confusing them, I think is the rationale. And obviously that's a system that worked. When it's like that, teacher takes a great deal of responsibility for the student, doesn't he? Or she. In China, from my readings, there seems to be more of an elder-brother relationship in many cases. Monks travel together. In the old days, they would go from place to place, meet with different teachers. It's important to have guidance, but it comes a lot of different ways. And basically, as a student, you're looking for what works. There isn't any right or wrong. If you find one teacher you resonate more at this point in time anyway with them, it's okay to move to another teacher. You don't want to do it casually and be flitting from blossom to blossom. A good teacher isn't going to be upset at all. If you found something that's a better fit, they'll be happy for you. That's why we explain when someone becomes a formal student of a teacher that the relationship is not the same on both sides. The teacher is saying, once I've accepted you, as long as you wish to be my student, I'm going to be there for you. But from the student side, if there's, circumstances change or whatever, and you wish to take your leave and go elsewhere, that's definitely okay. Of course, the Buddha taught us to look at the Dharma, the truth, not to look at other people. These were his last words when he was on his deathbed. Look to the teachings, look to the Dharma, not to me. Be your own refuge. Student says, what about anger? What should I do when I feel anger arising? And he says, you must use loving kindness. When angry states of mind arise in meditation, balance them by developing loving kindness feelings. This is something we've done a little bit, even in Sesshin, metta meditation. The practice of radiating goodwill in every direction, to every kind of person, to close friends, families, partners, to friends, to strangers, and even to enemies, even to those we don't get along with. It's amazing. It can be amazingly effective if you do it sincerely. It's hard to do when you're really angry. He says if someone does something bad or gets angry, don't get angry yourself. If you do, you are being more ignorant than he. Be wise. Keep in mind compassion, for that person is suffering. Roshi has a bumper sticker, he did, on his car. It said, mean people are suffering. Mean, angry people. Fill your mind with loving kindness as if you were a dear brother. Concentrate on the feeling of loving kindness as a meditation object. Spread it to all beings in the world. Only through loving kindness is hatred overcome. Sometimes you may see other monks behaving badly. You may get annoyed. This is suffering unnecessarily. It is not yet our Dharma. You may think like this: they are not as strict as I am. They are not serious meditators like us. Those monks are not good monks. This is a great defilement on your part. Do not make comparisons. Do not discriminate. Let go of your opinions and watch yourself. This is our Dharma. You can't possibly make everyone act as you wish or to be like you. This wish will only make you suffer. And then there's wanting others to be impressed with you. We have to look at ourselves and notice. Sometimes people sit up late because they want to impress others or they want to impress the teacher. What do you care what other people think? What does it matter? And why should other people care what you think? Sometimes we can help someone by pointing out something they're doing that they're not aware of. But to sit in silent judgment, talk about them to others, this is a grave mistake. It says, watching other people won't develop wisdom. Don't worry. Simply examine yourself, your feelings. This is how you will understand. Next question is, I feel sleepy a great deal. It makes it hard to meditate. And Ajahn Chah says, there are many ways to overcome sleepiness. If you are sitting in the dark, move to a lighted place. Open your eyes. Get up and wash your face. Slap your face, or take a bath. Don't slap your face somewhere where people can hear you. Roshi Kapleau used to dip his head into a basin of water. He'd fill up a sink with cold water, dip his head in there, and then open his eyes underwater. And that shock of the cold against the eyeball would help him to drive away drowsiness. If nothing works, then go to sleep. Lie down carefully, but try to be aware until the moment you fall asleep. So many of us get into bed, and then we sort of go into automatic pilot, lose our awareness. Actually, you can do really good zazen lying in bed. Sometimes people worry because they can't sleep. Just rest the body and watch the mind. He says, then as soon as you awaken, get right up. Don't look at the clock or roll over. Start mindfulness from the moment you awaken. If you find yourself sleepy every day, try to eat less. Examine yourself. As soon as 5 more spoonfuls will make you full, stop. Then take water until properly full. I've never heard of doing this before, but it sounds like that might work. Go and sit. Watch your sleepiness and your hunger. You must learn to balance your eating. As your practice goes on, you will feel naturally more energetic and eat less, but you must adjust yourself. Other thing I would add is if you do eat too much, observe yourself. See what effect it has. Don't beat yourself up. So many things that we do without thinking. Once we're curious, once we're bringing awareness into every aspect of our life, we notice things. It's easier to change. It doesn't happen overnight. And the method where you think of all the things, make a list of all the things you're going to improve in yourself, usually falls apart. It's really tough to do something just with iron will. But by paying attention, we can change naturally. Questioner asks, why must we do so much bowing here? And he says, bowing is very important. It is an outward form that is part of practice. This form should be done correctly. Bring the forehead all the way to the floor. Have elbows near knees and knees about 8 inches apart. Not sure if that's what we do, but I think we all know the form here, our form. Bow slowly, mindful of your body. It is a good remedy for our conceit. We should bow often. When you bow 3 times, you can keep in mind the qualities of the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. This is taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. That is, the qualities of mind of purity, radiance, and peace. So we use the outward form to train ourselves. Body and mind become harmonious. Don't make the mistake of watching others bow. If the young novices are sloppy or the aged monks appear unmindful, this is not for you to judge. People can be difficult to train. Some learn fast, but others learn slowly. Judging others will only increase your pride. Watch yourself instead. Bow often. Get rid of your pride. That's the wonderful thing about bowing. It's just such a physical way to drop our conceit, to drop our rigidity. Those who have really become harmonious with the Dharma get far beyond outward form. Everything they do is a way of bowing. Walking, they bow. Eating, they bow. Defecating, they bow. This is because they've got beyond selfishness. Questioner asks, what is the biggest problem of your new disciples? And Ajahn Chah says, opinions, views and ideas about all things, about themselves, about practice, about the teachings of the Buddha. Many of those who come here have a high rank in the community. There are wealthy merchants or college graduates, teachers, and government officials. Their minds are filled with opinions about things. They are too clever to listen to others. It's like water in a cup. If the cup is filled with dirty, stale water, it is useless. Only after the old water is thrown out can the cup become useful. You must empty your mind of opinions, then you will see. There's a story I used to see a lot back in the 60s, 70s. The Zen master who has someone coming to him asking about the teaching of Zen, and he offers him tea. The guy holds out his cup and he pours, and he just keeps pouring. Water goes running down the sides of the cup. And he said, what are you doing? What are you doing? The cup can't hold that. And he says, you need to empty your mind. Until your mind is empty, how can I fill it? How can I teach you? He says, our practice goes beyond cleverness and beyond stupidity. If you think to yourself, I'm clever, I'm wealthy, I am important, I understand all about Buddhism, you're an idiot. You cover up the truth of anatta, or not self. All you will see is self, I, mine. But Buddhism is letting go of self. The joy of Buddhism comes from letting go of self. Traveling lightly, letting go of our baggage. We all get stripped down in sesshin. In these last 2.5 days of sesshin, we have this opportunity to just be clean and bare. It's such a paradox. As we go deeper and deeper into sesshin, the mind is cleansed, becomes more pure. Our awareness is more vivid. So much more that we can see. But at the same time, we know our time is coming to an end, and it's easy to fall into thoughts about what have I accomplished, what will I accomplish, fall back into keeping track of time. We need to learn to be diligent, to stick to this moment. Only now, only here. When we do that, we can benefit from all the work that we and everyone else has done, all the momentum that we've built up. A lot of people here have practiced very well. Our minds are so much more receptive. We have the ability to be right here. Of course, conditions change and we go up and down. If you get caught by conditions, you can despair. Oh my God, it's the 5th day and I'm still thinking about this or thinking about that. But as I said yesterday, we have the ability, the potential to drop that, to have that just vanish. All of a sudden we can be wide awake. Just need to keep working with things as they are. Tell ourselves, right now, it's like this. It's not good or bad. It's what it is. It's what we're working with. Make our minds up to stick with this moment. To make our awareness steady, like a fine stream, as Sheng Yen puts it, finds its way around obstacles. The practice takes care of everything. There's nothing that we have to create. Time is up. We'll stop here and recite the 4 vows.